This anti-aircraft gun was built in the 1970s. The German army threw it away in 2010. It should be rusting in a depot somewhere. Forgotten, irrelevant, done. Instead, Russia spent millions of dollars developing a special weapon with on purpose, hunt it down and kill it. Wherever it hides in Ukraine, they hacked the factory that makes its ammunition. They sent assassins to kill the CEO of the company that builds its shells. They built a drone specifically programmed to find this gun by its radar signal and crash straight into it. All of this for a 50-year-old anti-aircraft gun that NATO threw in the trash. Why? What does this old machine do that terrifies Russia more than the Patriot, more than the F-16, more than anything the West has sent? That is exactly what this video is about. The story begins with a different confrontation. The first Gepards to arrive in Ukraine protected infantry and tanks from Russian alligators and Su-24s. This was a simpler time, because that was exactly what it was built for.
In terms of years, it is indeed old, but it works like a young one.
But then the Lancets appeared. This is not a missile and not classic artillery. This is a loitering munition, cheap and accurate. The operator sees the target on the screen in real time right up to the moment of impact. Dozens of pieces of Western hardware in Ukraine have been destroyed exactly this way. This is why the Gepards had to retreat, all the way into the deep defense. These crazy twin autocannons could have ended up out of work. But someone had the idea to try them against Shaheds, which had just appeared in the Russian arsenal at the time. Shaheds completely flipped this war on its head. Now we know they completely flipped the economics of any modern warfare. But in the beginning, nobody knew how to shoot down these cheap monsters carrying 50 kilograms of explosives, missiles, manpads. But these assets are many times more expensive than plastic with a propeller. The Ukrainian army almost faced a catastrophe, if it were not for the Gepard. It turned out to be a natural-born Shahed killer. First shift on duty, and one crew shoots down 10 targets in a single night.
2 or 3 bursts per target turned out to be enough.
This pile of plastic cost at least $500,000 when it was circling in the sky. Imagine the shock of the Russians, since they had built a massive factory just to produce these UAVs. How much did it cost to shoot them down?
To destroy one UAV at a distance of 3 kilometers, a maximum of 11 rounds is used.
The price of a single 35mm shell, depending on the type, ranges from $300 to $600. This allows for cheap shoot-downs. The shell has a self-destruction mechanism in case of a miss. This is great, because it allows the Gepard to operate near cities and critical infrastructure. But Swiss production turned out to be a problem. Switzerland banned all countries from selling its unique ammunition to Ukraine. What was that all about? Neutrality. But what were the Ukrainians supposed to do, considering that the Gepard cannot just use any 35mm ammunition? The modification that Ukraine received is very different from the previous ones in terms of its internal systems. First, the guns can fire FAPDS rounds, which have an effective range of up to 5 kilometers. Second, the onboard computer instantly calculates the trajectory, wind, temperature, and barrel wear. This saves ammunition and makes it extremely accurate. And most importantly, the reaction time from detection to firing is 4 seconds. That is why the Gepard can even shoot down cruise missiles.
Against a missile, you have mere seconds to shoot it down, and you have no room for error.
But without ammunition, speed and accuracy mean absolutely nothing. That is why the Rheinmetall company quickly built a production line for the necessary shells. The Gepard versus Shahed confrontation expanded in scale, becoming perhaps the main duel of this war. The stakes were as high as they get. First, the CEO of the company became target number 1 for the Russian intelligence services. They tried to assassinate him, and then they set his house on fire. Then, the ammunition plant was subjected to cyber attacks. Finally, the Russians created a modification of the Shahed that can locate a Gepard even deep in the rear. Recently, a passive radar homing head was discovered for the first time among the wreckage of a Shahed. It allows kamikaze drones to autonomously lock onto radio emission sources during flight. Such a unit converts a standard kamikaze drone into an analog of an anti-radiation missile. How does this threaten the Gepard? And how did the Ukrainians respond? Before we move on to the main part, revealing the new capabilities of the Gepard,
please subscribe to the Weapons of Victory channel and don't forget to leave a comment.
So, the Gepard has two whole radars. The first one rotates above the turret and constantly scans the surrounding sky. Its task is to spot the target. The second one is the tracking radar. It tracks the target and helps the onboard computer calculate the solution for an accurate shot. This is exactly why the Gepard is capable of shooting down even very small and fast targets. But not this time. The new Shahed basically says, "Here I am, look at me." Once it spots the target, the Gepard's radar essentially gives away its own position. The kamikaze drone finds it by its radiation and attacks immediately. The crew might not even have time to fire a shot. How can the Gepard protect itself? Turning on the search radar for only short periods of time to identify the direction of the target's movement is the simplest way. After that, the gunner or commander uses only optical and thermal imaging channels and a laser rangefinder. Does this affect accuracy? At close range, barely at all. But fog, rain, heavy clouds, smoke, or long distances, you get the picture. A blind Gepard effectively turns into a regular anti-aircraft gun. This is why the Ukrainians made a counter-move. They provide the Gepard crew with the exact coordinates of the target from other sources, transforming the old, fully autonomous system into an element of a modern, unified air defense network.
When you shoot down $1 million missile with a 35mm shell, there are no questions about its age.
You can learn how the 6 levels of Ukrainian air defense work from our separate video, and you will find out how the Gepard operates within this network right now. So a combined attack of UAVs and cruise missiles is underway, but the Gepard's radar is silent. However, its onboard computer is running, receiving real-time target data from a unified automated system where all data from all Ukrainian radars is aggregated. The crew only needs to turn on their optics and visually lock onto the target.
О, есть збиття. Есть. Збили.
If the crew does not trust the optics due to poor visibility, they turn on their tracking radar for literally a split second.
Є збиття, чувак.
It only takes 2 seconds to lock onto the target.
The onboard radar instantly refines the distance and speed. The computer adjusts the guns, and the Gepard fires a short burst. The radar is turned off immediately, and the Gepard relocates. As you can understand, this is a game of hide-and-seek with death. But that is the reality of modern warfare. A radar on an anti-aircraft system is a target. This is why the modern Skynex system operating in Ukraine has its radar positioned separately from the guns. The gun mounts are not self-propelled, they are transportable platforms. A Skynex battery consists of 4 35mm Oerlikon, a command post, and a radar station that performs initial target detection and guides the guns. This system was developed by Rheinmetall Air Defense. In Ukraine, they are used to protect airfields, critical infrastructure, and other vital assets. And at the end of 2025, Ukraine received the Skyranger 35, the son of the Gepard, or its much younger brother, since it also uses a Leopard 1 tank chassis. Although it was originally planned to be based on the Boxer APC's chassis, the Ukrainian army became the world's first combat operator of this system. Its thermal imaging sensor scans the sky 360 degrees without any radio emission, and the radar is only turned on when it is absolutely necessary. No Shahed can find the system by its signal, but the main feature of the new German systems is the Ahead ammunition. This is not a high explosive shell, but 152 tungsten cylinders plus a small ejector charge. About 10 to 30 meters before the Shahed, the shell bursts open, and the tungsten cylinders turn the UAVs or missiles into a colander. Awesome. Just keep Switzerland away from them. Write in the comments if you would like a video about the Skynex or the Skyranger 35, or write your thoughts about this video. And in these playlists, you will find other videos about Western SAMs operating in Ukraine. Stay safe and support Ukraine.